Hello, it's a beautiful Monday afternoon. Um, I'm doing quite okay, so send my sincere greetings to you all, fellow YouTubers, colleagues, health professionals, um, fellow workers in their various professions. I pass my sincere greetings to you. Um, I decided to do a presentation on what to cover for a job interview prep. So before I present on that, I just want to highlight that in my whole life experience, I've only done two serious interviews or two job interviews relating to my profession. And I didn't get the first one. I didn't get the job for the first one. And then the second one, I got it. And I'm doing a presentation from my current place of work, which is somewhere in Gauteng. So, without wasting time, I also just want to take time to say to you, congratulations on ending that spot for an interview. All the best. May you break a leg. And what else? Let's see. For me personally, because I'm a Christian, I believe a lot of things that are happening in my life are happening so under the intervention of the Holy Spirit and the presence of Jesus Christ and God the Father. So I also need you to have some sort of support, have faith, have some sort of anchor backing you up. But otherwise, I did my first interview. To me, it was more of a preparatory thing for the second one that I was gonna get. I didn't even know at the time. However, I wasn't called for a job at that interview, and even then, it was an interview relating to a kind of job that I've never done before, but that I could do as an OT or a health professional. So because I didn't have the experience and the interviewers hammered me on like experience part of it, like they wanted me to speak as if like I have experience in this kind of field that I had applied for. Other than that, my second job interview was relating to an experience that I had during my community service year. So yeah, but the secret behind it is I did put time in preparation. I prepped so much, which is why I think this is the most important phase after you receive that call. So embrace yourself. Here it goes. So tips for job interview preparation. Here are some of the things that you need to cover. I have about a total of let's see, 6 slides. So yeah, it's gonna be very brief, and I'm not gonna go into detail. If you feel it was very short for you and you need some form of additional information, or you want me to expand on one of the points that I happen to highlight here, feel free to ask me in the comment section. If you have any additional info that you know from your experience and you want to share to other people, please feel free to also comment in the comment section below so we can learn from each other. God bless you. So the first thing that one should consider is the company that you have applied to, the company or institution or an organization that you choose to apply to. Do some sort of research into their history. When was it founded? What's their mission? What's their vision? And what are the company values, or what's the organization about? Have an idea around what it is that the company that you have applied for it's all about. What services are provided at the company, and most importantly, how are you going to fit into their mission and vision, and what are you bringing in as an individual that's going to be that will be interviewed for a particular role that you have applied for. So cover that. At least have some form of knowledge around the company. What branches does it have? Is it like an international thing? Is it a national company? Is it a private company? Know something about it, especially in this regard. A brief history on the company, mission and vision, company values, and then services provided. Once you've covered that, okay, and then the other section that you should cover is The job description. This is very important. Remember when you were applying, you saw um, a post being advertised and then it had like key responsibilities or key duties. Know and understand what those roles are. Know them. And then secondly, see if there are any new or additional responsibilities that you are going to have to take on as a worker compared to your previous work experience. And then see if you can be able to carry this with ease, or you're going to need some form of training, or you will have to learn along the way. And then if that's the case, take a more open-minded approach that you're willing to learn. So have that in mind. But the key point here is understand your key responsibilities or key duties of that job. So you can be able to say, I, as a health worker, I'm responsible for 1, 2, 3. My duties are, my tasks are 1, 2, 3, and then I have to also do 1, 2, 3, 4. Know, understand your worker role and what's expected of you in that company or institution. And then see if there are any common responsibilities compared to your previous work experience. That's also important, because then you can also be able to highlight this during your interview to say, I have experience in 1, 2, 3. I was responsible for the same things in my previous jobs, so and so. And then finally, sometimes you might find that it's really your first job interview and your first job. Some professions are like that. It's still good. It's still best to understand or know your job description. You might not have all this experience, but at least have an idea of what's expected of you, so you can be able to speak around that. You might have volunteered somewhere where you had to do admin work. You might have had some form of NGO that you worked at. You might have had some form of worker role that you fulfilled before this other professional role. But if truly it happens to be your very, very, very first, at least the least you can do is understand what's expected of you, and at least have some sort of anticipation and excitement towards fulfilling this role and learning as you go along. Then you can move to your professional identity. Know clearly what qualities you have and what skills you possess as a worker or as an employee. Understand what you've gained from your previous job experiences, what roles you have played, and what achievements you have had. Like, know your professional identity very well, to an extent that you are able to express it, that you're able to verbalize it to the team of people that will be interviewing you. Know your qualities, especially the qualities that relate to the job that you've applied for. And then thirdly, have a clear picture of a career path that you are on. So if you are a health professional, know what fields you're interested in, like myself. Like if you're an OT like myself, know what fields you're interested in. Know where you want to be in maybe the next coming 5 years. And also answer this in line with the company's mission and vision. Because in as much as you might have personal and goals external to their mission and vision, here you want to give them an idea that you believe in what they believe, and you are here to help the company achieve its mission and vision. So know your professional identity in the line of the company's mission and vision, and where you are at in terms of your career path development and where you're hoping to get to. And then lastly, just be able to, so you have your CV already, which is the reason why they've called you, because they like what they saw on the CV, which is like a written representation of your professional identity. So know how to best verbalize your qualities, or how to best bring your curriculum vitae or resume to life through explaining what experiences you've had, through explaining what roles you have fulfilled in the past, through talking about what achievements you have had, through talking about your qualities and skills as a worker. Be able to be skilled in that area. Practice how to verbalize your CV. In as much as everything is written down there, You might not know all the information by heart, but at least be able to paint a clear picture of your career path verbally. Okay, and then moving on. Now, this is also very, very important. Practice answering interview questions. Put in the time. Practice answering interview questions. So, under this topic, I want you to take time and write down all the possible questions that you may get asked for your interview relating to your work role. Note them down. And then, along these questions, put down your answers, considering what you have listed down in your CV. So if they say, tell us about yourself, then from your CV, you've already stated where you've worked at before. Tailor your answers to your resume. So let what you have represented in your CV be heard in, like when you're answering questions, which takes us back to the previous point of saying, know how to verbalize or interpret your CV clearly through painting like a clear picture of your career path. So jot down all possible questions that you might get asked, and then write down responses to these questions by tailoring your answers to your resume points. This is very important because you don't want your CV to say something else and your verbal answers to speak a completely different life experience. Thirdly, engage with your fellow colleagues in the same field that you're working in. Ask them questions. If they've had interviews before, inquire with them, like what kind of questions have they had before. If they've attended interviews as interviewers, ask what questions do they ask their interviewees, so you at least have an idea of what to expect and prepare your answers alongside some of these questions, because in most professions, questions are kept the same over the years. So engage with your colleagues, engage with people that have been in the same field for a long time. It's even more helpful to have mentors and people that you look up to within your profession. So engage with these people. What questions have they asked in the past? What questions are they asking recently? Then take those questions and then work on your answers. You can even ask your colleagues that have been part of interviews before, what questions have they had, and if they were interviewers, what were they looking for in their interviewees' answers. You can share your answers to some of the questions that you already have done and hear what they have to say about them. See if they can give you any additional tips. And you can even ask what do they look for when they're scoring you for your answers, so you know you're covering those basics. And then, yes, which is the last point, I've already highlighted that. See what tips they can give you on the answers that you have already prepared, which is very important. So in preparation for your interview, set a whole list of possible questions that you might get. Write down your answers that correspond to your CV. And then finally, find out more about what other people's experiences have been like in interviews for the same profession or for the same work role. What questions have they been asked before? And note those and then practice using those questions as well. So finally, practice some more. Now you have covered all the information from the company's information or history. You have covered your professional identity. You know yourself very well as a worker. You understand your worker role. You understand your experiences. You have jotted down questions. You have jotted down answers. So the next step to fulfill is just practicing. So point number 1, set up mock interviews with either your friends or family. Ask them to be the panelists to interview. So take the list of questions that you have put down as part of your preparation and hand them to your friends or family so they can interview you using those questions. And so the importance of this is, when going through these questions, see what common mistakes you keep making in your answers. See how you represent yourself verbally, because it's very different from written, trust me. And then try to practice on expressing yourself better or answering those questions in a more clearer and audible and understandable way. So all these little mistakes that you pick up. For example, with me, when I started, I realized that I used to say a lot of in between my answers. But if I hadn't put the time to practice, I'm sure I'd still be doing those in my interviews. And the people that played the interviewer role in my mock interviews helped to point out those things for me. And then the other tip I can give you is, okay, yes, we've covered everything. So see what common mistakes you make and work on correcting those. It is very important. The more mock interviews you set for yourself with regards to the interview that you're going to be doing in future or that you will be going for, it's very important because trust me, this you might get like along the same questions that you've had down on your list. So it'll be more like repetition. So you won't even have to think outside the box. It won't even have to feel like you won't feel the pressure. Put the time into practice and trust me, it will yield the results that you're looking for. And then lastly, I wanted to say practice more. Practice more. And then lastly, break a leg with your interview. God bless you. And please don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be sharing some of the questions that I had in my interviews and then what else. So let me know if you want me to do a video on how to answer some of the interview questions that you might get.